So on February 19th, Apple introduced its quote-unquote newest product to the public, the iPhone 16e. Now the term new is being used liberally here because really this phone is the much anticipated, much needed refresh to the poorly aged iPhone SE, and to call this thing new is a bit of a stretch to say the least. I mean, it kind of feels like all iPhones have been the same for like 5 years now, and this one is definitely not bucking that trend. That said, the iPhone 16e is a significant upgrade that brings a lot to users who have been waiting for an update to the special edition iPhone and can be considered the best value new iPhone by a noticeable margin. But with the increased price tag of $599 for the base model, is the iPhone 16e worth it? Well, let's talk about it. Real quick, before you guys ask in the comments, if you guys want the wallpapers in this video, make sure to subscribe to the JSL newsletter. I send subscribers out a brand new full-res wallpaper every single week, as well as really good tech deals and fun articles written by yours truly. It's totally free. Link to subscribe will be in the description down below. Okay, first, let's talk about the design and the form factor of the new iPhone 16e. Much like the SEs that came before it, rather than being new, this phone borrows from the iPhones of the past, making this phone look and feel quite familiar. The body of the 16e is essentially the iPhone 14, as it still has the current industrial smartphone aesthetic with its flattened out frame and flat glass panels on both the front and back. It comes in only one non-plus size, sporting a 6.1-inch edge-to-edge display, but with the notch that's made a comeback, and the frame is made out of Apple's high-quality aluminum. You're limited to 2 colors, black or white. I went with the black, and I actually think it looks pretty good. Is it as exciting as some of the new iPhone colors? No, but it does have a very stealthy, clean look, especially with the matte finish on the back and the well-executed color-matched frame. The biggest upgrade from the previous SE has to be the display. This is a Super Retina XDR OLED panel, a huge jump from the sad sub 1080p LCD tiny screens that the old SEs were using for far too long. And though this one may be a bit more polarizing, Apple finally sunset the home button and equipped the 16e with Face ID. I personally think Face ID is the best biometric security system on a phone, so it's a big plus in my opinion, and it's great not having a gaping forehead and chin for a more immersive experience, even if it does mean a return of the notch. Now the screen is capped at 60Hz, however, no big surprise, sad to say, as the regular 16 is also in the same disappointing boat. You only get one camera on the back that we'll talk more about in detail later in this review, but you do get USB Type-C on the 16e, which is nice to see. Note, you don't get faster transfer speeds through this port, however, you just get access to a more widely used I/O. Also, although the 16e does support wireless charging, it doesn't have MagSafe, which is an odd and kind of annoying omission. Not the biggest deal because there's a ton of cases that bring MagSafe compatibility back to this phone, but it is weird that Apple decided to take the magnets out. But this entire package is supported with a very good IP68 dust and water resistance rating and ceramic shield protection, which is nice to see. Generally speaking, the design and form factor of the iPhone 16e is very familiar if you've had an iPhone 12 or higher, which can be disappointing, but if you are one of the few people that is still using the old SE, this phone is gonna feel like a quantum leap forward. The screen is leagues better, and the phone sports a modern aesthetic, and it's packed with sophisticated features that all come together to make for a way more engaging user experience. So let's talk about the performance and features of the new iPhone 16e. The good news is Apple has stayed consistent in terms of keeping concessions to as little as possible with its most budget iPhone offering. And probably the best illustration of this is the fact that the 16e is rocking Apple's new A18 chip, the same chip that is found on the iPhone 16. Now for all you hawks out there, yes, there is one less GPU core on this version of the A18, but this is still without question an extremely powerful chip. Aside from giving users the expected smooth iOS experience with very little to no lag, a main selling point of the 16e is that it also gives users access to Apple Intelligence. Whether you're a believer in AI or not, this is kind of a big deal because up to this point, only the iPhone 15 Pros, the 16 Pros, and the regular 16 get Apple Intelligence, so it is nice that Apple didn't gatekeep its cheapest iPhone from these new features. So you get access to the ChatGPT integrated Siri and all of the new AI editing tools and more. Will you ever actually use these features? I'm not sure, but it is encouraging to see that as these AI features evolve and become more value added, the 16e will have access to them moving forward. Another surprising and kind of great addition to the iPhone 16e is the action button. I find this one to be super useful. I have mine mapped to act as a key fob for my Tesla, which comes in super handy, and even though the 16e doesn't have Apple's latest camera control button on the side, you can map the action button to leverage Apple's visual intelligence, which again, not sure if you'd actually use, but it is nice to see that you can backdoor this capability. Now, one of the most important areas of performance to me with this phone is the battery life, an area in which the previous SE was just not good. Apple claims that the 16e can provide up to 26 hours of video playback and 21 hours of stream video playback, and in my limited testing, I'm gonna say that the battery life is a solid good. Apple introduced the new C1 modem, which Apple says is the most efficient modem in an iPhone to date, which helps optimize battery performance. I've been able to get through a full day of moderate to heavy use so long as I start the day on a full charge. I'll be in pretty sporty shape if I forget to charge at night though, as the battery itself isn't too big. Plus, I kinda hate that the wireless charging speed is butt slow. You do get 20-watt fast charging when wired in, but battery life as a whole is a solid good so far. Okay, let's get into probably the most important area of performance for the 16e and for most users, and that's gonna be camera performance. The 16e is limited to just one camera on the back and one camera on the front, which is probably the most obvious concession from the other models. The camera on the rear, however, is an updated 48 megapixel fusion sensor that does allow for that 2x lossless digital zoom, so it kind of feels like you have two cameras. Now, it's not the same sensor as what's on the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro. It is smaller and it doesn't have some of the premium camera features like sensor shift technology, but generally speaking, the still image performance on the 16e is excellent. The photos are sharp and vibrant with really good dynamic range, even at the 2x focal length, and these are very close in quality to what's coming out of the 16 and the 16 Pro. Now, low light is where you may see the camera struggle, as the sensor isn't as large and it's more susceptible to camera shake, but you do get access to portrait mode and night mode and Apple's advanced AI editing features. The 12 megapixel front-facing selfie camera also performs really well, as the selfies come out great. Apple continues to do well with how they manage skin tones, and again, it's basically at the same level of quality as what's coming out of the more expensive iPhone 16s. Now, when it comes to video performance, it's a very similar story. The 16e is able to shoot 4K Dolby Vision video at up to 60 frames per second, and the footage looks fantastic. Apple continues to provide the most natural looking high quality video coming out of any phone, and it's great to see this level of quality coming out of Apple's cheapest phone. There are some concessions here too, however. You don't get access to cinematic mode, which is a bummer because I use that feature all the time when I'm filming myself as a go-to vlog camera. There's also no ability to shoot in log format, which isn't the biggest deal as it's a rarely used feature, and you don't get 4K 120 frames per second, which is a bummer, but again, kind of to be expected. So the most controversial thing about the iPhone 16 is its new price tag of $599. At that price, it definitively takes it out of the budget category in my opinion, and after really experiencing this phone and thinking about it, I actually don't think that the price is necessarily unfair. I mean, there's no denying that the 16e is a feature-packed device that offers a lot of what the iPhone 16 offers at a $200 discount. But to me, what made the SE special was that it was supposed to be an iPhone most people could buy, and at this price, I kind of feel like it lost that spirit. I would say if you're on an older device and you're dead set on getting one of the new iPhone 16s, the 16e is the best value choice. It's $200 cheaper than the regular 16, and I don't think that you're getting too much more by going with the next tier up. But if you have around $600 to spend, I'd personally look for a lightly used or refurbished 15 Pro, as that phone is better in virtually every single way. The 15 Pro, in my opinion, is the best iPhone that people should go for in 2025, but that's a whole different video. Let me know what you guys think about the new iPhone 16e. Do you think it's a great new addition to the iPhone lineup? Or do you think Apple missed the mark on this one? Curious to get your thoughts. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. And in case you want to do a comparison with the iPhone 16 and the 16 Pro, check out these videos here. You're not going to want to miss them.